What's up, guys? Just finished making this serving tray. Gonna show you how we did it. All right, folks, this is the plan for today. I got this old piece of plywood here. It's about a 1/2 inch piece of plywood. Pretty nice, just got a little dusty. And we got this little short piece of Padauk wood left. It's kind of red. I think it's really pretty. We're gonna try to put these two things together and make like a serving tray. Okay, this is what I got left of this board. I drew about where the handle's gonna go. I'm also gonna need a 1/2 inch groove for the plywood to go in as the tray bottom. So I think I'm gonna cut this around 3 inches on the table saw. So got the router table set up. It's a 1/2 inch bit to match that plywood. And I've kind of centered it on the smaller of the two pieces. So I'm gonna put the groove in there. And because the wood's a little harder, I'm gonna take a small bite of it and then I'll raise the bit up just a little and finish the cut up to the depth that I want. Okay, I took this board over to the miter saw, cut a 45-degree angle on here, and I'm really just eyeballing it. I know I want this to be my base. I can see how much I have to work with. I'm gonna end up taking some of this plywood off. So I'm gonna make my inner miter on this other side about right there. Got the stop block up with a mitered cut on it, so this will fit in there well. And I'm gonna cut this to size. I'm also gonna slip this in and cut it to size, and then both of those pieces will be identical. All right, my plan is to put the handle here on the sides with the thicker pieces, but I want this to taper off and rejoin in the corners at the same height. So what I'm gonna do is just set the table saw up at this width, and I'm going to mark it with just a small cut on both sides. Made these marks here about 3 inches in on each side. I made a center mark of the whole board, and I have also marked a couple of places here that I'm gonna drill a hole with a paddle bit, and then I will use the jigsaw to cut out where the two holes are. And obviously I'll route this inside area to make the handle smooth. So I'm gonna put the jigsaw up here. I'm gonna start in. When I start getting really close to this line, I'm gonna make a nice smooth curve with the jigsaw and head up. I'm gonna start to curve out here before I get completely to the edge. I just wanna kind of round these out so it looks a little nicer. This stuff is super hard. I'm still working on this other side, and I've had to add 2 additional clamps. All right, got it done. There was the first side. I guess that was actually the first side. You can see it starts to burn a little in the corners on that wood, so you got to start that round out a little bit sooner, but overall it's pretty symmetrical. I got the 2 holes in the center where it's going to be the hand hole. I'm about to take the jigsaw, clamp this down again, and just cut out these from hole to hole, and then I'll have room in there for some fingers. Gonna cheat a little bit on this next one here. I haven't started cutting out that other side yet, so I'm just gonna use this as a template, line my edges up. Okay, I finished routing around these with that 1/4 round bit that I had, and I think they turned out pretty good, except this one that I kind of boogered up a little bit. And I'm gonna show you on the router what I did. Kind of messed that one up. You can see I've already cut that groove inside there where the plywood's gonna fit. And I was trying to go down that back edge, and because that groove is in there, it actually slipped up under the little bearing on the 1/4 round there. And so it took a pretty big bite and boogered up the wood there, and I don't have any more of this wood. I decided to just cut off and make those other pieces shorter. It actually turned out pretty nice now. You can't really see where I botched it, so I'm excited about that. I think the project's still going. I've taped up the miter joints, come together pretty good, but now I've got to fit this bottom piece to fit inside. So in order to do that, I got this adjustable square. I'm going to set that to the depth of these grooves and tighten it up. I've kind of just done that already, and then I'm going to move that to the top, and I'm going to mark that both sides here. me just to lay this piece up. I'm gonna put it just inside my mark on this side. Make sure I've got it pretty straight. And then on the other side, I'm gonna give myself about 1/8 of an inch inside of that mark in order to make sure it'll fit. So I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I'm gonna use a table saw to cut this base to fit. Joined one edge, took it over to the miter saw, and then squared it up really well, and then went back to measure and make sure that I had it right on both sides and cut it with the table saw. All right, we're just gonna use a little bit of glue on here, on these miter joints too, because I'm gonna come back and put a spline in there to help strengthen those. Oh, that feels nice. I don't want to put too much glue on there. It's going to end up making a bunch of squeeze out that I don't want. If I can just get this on here, I'm going to put some clamps on it, probably let that dry for a day. Along with this thing here, got this base sanded pretty good on both sides to get the scuff marks out. I opened this edge up. I just took a piece of tape off and laid it all the way out so that I could run a bead of glue all the way down. Also put some glue inside each of these mitered joints, and then I closed it all back up. It was a really nice fit. I had a cargo strap ran around the outside of it, tightened down just a little bit to squeeze all those miter joints and help it to, I guess, square itself back out. And then I have clamped all four corners just to help that wood match up, so there's not an offset in the corners. I noticed there was a little bit, so I'm hoping that will mitigate that. Gonna let this dry about 24 hours. I'm gonna come back and we will put a spline in these corners. Gonna try and strengthen those up a little. Okay, here's the jig that I was telling you about that I made. It's called a spline jig. There's some great YouTube videos on making this, not ones that I've done, but there's one spline jig and how to spline a miter joint. Super good, but basically it's a box that will rotate these corners up. This is all set at a 45-degree angle. You can see that the saw blade goes through the bottom. And what I do is I move my fence over. I have run my blade up to the height that I want, showing inside there, and I'll hold this down in, turn the saw on. Through the table saw, makes this nice little groove in the miter joints, and then I have went back with a different color wood and carefully worked the thickness until I made a piece to go inside. I'll glue that inside, I'll trim these edges off, and then we'll sand it all the way around. Got this thing all glued up. I've given it a good 24 hours. Gonna take this pull saw and trim out very carefully these corner spline pieces. They come out really good, and then I'll just sand around those. I really like the way that color has a contrast. All right, amigos, this is it. I just got done sanding all these things nice and flush and spraying it with some lacquer. You can see way back there was a step where it got boogered a little bit. I can see that right there. But overall, really happy with it. These things, that was actually like a white pine wood, but when I sanded it, that really fine red dust from this Padauk got in there. I don't know, it kind of blended it in and made it a nice matching orangey color. But yeah, overall I like it. This was the one we had made previous to that, which was kind of the opposite. I used the lighter, softer wood on the outside, and then I put that Padauk splines in there. Really happy with how it turned out. It's really heavy. Maybe feels pretty heavy duty. Just did a little wood burning in there so I could remember when I get too old to remember who made that. But good luck with your project. This is not a perfect how to do it channel. This is I'm trying to figure it out too channel. So hopefully something I did helped you out. If the video was good, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll make some more stuff in the future.